Hey 8th graders, mainly DLI kids. So this video for today is mostly for remote kids. That may mean only DLI at this point, or in the instance that we happen to go all remote for HMS. That would be all of you guys would be doing this lab at home. Okay, if we are still in school though, A and B day, you guys will be doing this live, so you don't need to watch this video. We will be doing this activity in class. So with that being said, DLI, what you will be doing today is the Bocce Ball Lab. If you have bocce balls at home by chance, awesome. Take those outside and you guys will use those bocce balls to complete these objectives. Okay. If you don't have bocce balls, but maybe you guys have two different balls, a larger, heavier ball of some sort, and then a lighter, smaller ball of some sort, you guys can take those outside and do this same kind of experiment with them. If you guys have neither of those things, then what you'll be using is in Amplify. If you go to Force and Motion, Chapter 2, Lesson 2.1, and then head on into Activity 3 Simulation, you guys will use the Force and Motion simulation link to complete this lab activity. So the simulation, obviously you guys have seen this several times, looks like this. Okay, so what you have in this data table, and I did an example for you guys, is you have several objectives. So that's that first column right here. So you have objectives 1 through 8, and then you have a question to answer at the end. Okay, the second column is what did you do? So you guys will talk to me about how you accomplished objective 1. And then once you have accomplished that, or what you did to accomplish that, you will tell me about your observation. So for instance, this first one says, describe the fact that a force is required to change the velocity of an object. So a single ball at rest. So if you're using bocce balls, you would just take one bocce ball or one ball and show me how you can accomplish that a force is required to change the velocity. Okay, so in this case, if you guys were doing the actual bocce ball experiment, like the AB kids, we have one bocce ball laying on the ground, not in motion. We pushed it forward with our hand. So that was the what did we do? We applied a force with our hand. Okay, the observations, when we applied a force, the ball started to move forward in the direction of the force. Okay, so here's our observations and here's the what did we do. So it's kind of like a what did you do at the moment and what happened after. So a cause and effect. Okay, DLI though, if you're using the simulation and Amplify, it might look something like this. So my example was I had the A puck at rest in the middle of the screen. I prepared a force of 3 clicks to the right and then I clicked exert. So here's my at rest force. I'm going to go to run. I'm going to prepare my force. And then in here I'm going to click 3 to the right. And so that would be what I did, how I set it up. Okay, so this is the cause. I'd hit effect and watch the effect, which was that our A puck moved to the right with a velocity of 3. And you don't necessarily need to focus on the numbers. That isn't super important. I just gave a little extra detail. You'll have a lab an assignment later on where you guys actually do focus on all the numbers and your change in velocity. So for this one, you guys can keep it fairly simple. Again, it might say, this is our cause. I had the A puck at rest in the middle of the screen. I prepared a force of 3 to the right and clicked exert. So basically, we put a little force on it to the right with that little hammer. The effect of that cause was that the A puck started to move to the right. Okay, so again, you don't have to include those numbers necessarily. All right, your other objectives for this would be demonstrate how a stronger force can cause a greater change in velocity. So you have a single ball at rest and then compare it to the first. So maybe instead of adding 3 clicks to the force, maybe you guys add a little bit more force than the 3 clicks and see what happens to the velocity. So how did you set it up? And then what did you observe once that force was exerted? Okay, demonstrate how an object can speed up. So you have a object in motion. You guys will hit run and then you'll pause it. You'll prepare a force and then you'll see that force. You guys would highlight direction of force, same or opposite, or include that in your setup and then what happened. Demonstrate how an object can slow down. Same kind of concept, except you guys are going to apply a force differently. This is how you think of how your force will be applied differently. So make sure you describe it as well as include the direction of the force. Describe how an object can change direction, a single ball in motion. So again, you have a single ball in motion, you're going to pause it, hit prepare force, and you're going to show how you can make that force change direction. Demonstrate how an object can stop. Okay, so again, a single ball in motion, how are you guys going to get that ball or your puck to stop? Demonstrate the fact that so now we're talking about demonstrate the fact that if the same strength force is exerted on two different objects, but the objects have different masses. So if you guys would be using bocce balls in this case, you would use a heavier ball and a lighter ball. Okay, so if you were to exert the same strength force on those, describe how their motion is different after. So you guys are doing this kind of twice almost on two different balls. So no collision here. Okay. So you can do it with two single balls at rest, and you apply the same force to each ball and then describe their motion afterwards. And then finally demonstrate that even though the force exerted on each object in the collision is the same strength, if the objects have different masses, their changes in velocity will be different. So this is the only one that you guys do with collision. So same setup as 8, but with two pucks of different masses. Okay? And then you guys will show that even though you guys are doing the same force, that they're going to have different velocities afterwards. So how might you use bocce balls to test the concept that when two objects collide, they hit each other with the same strength force? So obviously you guys can't see that when two objects like a bocce ball collide. So how maybe would you redesign a bocce ball that would show that basically Newton's third law, that when two objects collide with each other, they exert the same force. No matter what the size of the bocce balls are, they hit each other with the same force in an opposite direction. It's how they react, though. Remember, that makes them look like they're different because of their mass. Okay, so once you guys finish that, you guys can hand that in, and that will be your assignment for the Bocce Ball Lab today. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you soon.